Today I'm going to be walking you through all of the accessories and upgrades I've made to my bike to make it adventure ready. I'm preparing for a trip at the moment. I'm heading down from Sydney to Geelong, and then I'll go across on the ferry to Tasmania and spend about 3 weeks in Tasmania. Thank you to John and Nicole at Motociclo. They've been amazing to work with. They've really done a lot of work on this bike, and I'll share some of the stories as I go through this video. So it turns out 95% of you guys are men, so kia ora men. Okay, so let's talk about the luggage to start. First of all, I've got this top box. It's from Royal Enfield. I had it installed when I first received the bike. So far it's very sturdy, doesn't seem to have scratched. It's got a simple locking mechanism. It just fits like all my stuff. Usually I just put odds and ends, and then my camera equipment stays in here as well. So it's a good, safe, lockable container. Then I've got the Mototech side panniers. These are really good. They expand to 40 litres, but they're very compact. So when you've got nothing in them, they're quite light and very central to the bike. So yeah, those have been a really great feature to add, and they were perfect. I would buy them again. The only feedback is from my mechanic, who said they were really difficult to install. Underneath, there's a guard for the exhaust. These just clip onto plates. So they just come off very simply. They've got clips on them. There's one lever, and then they've got these plates, and see, that's the guard for the exhaust. So I'm just going to show you on the other side. So that's how you undo them. So that's luggage. I've got a whole list of things here. Front panniers. Okay, great. These are the Royal Enfield front panniers. They attach with these straps, which are okay, but they're a bit fiddly to get on and off. So it's not the kind of thing that you remove from the bike very often, which is kind of annoying. I'd prefer to be able to remove them because they're not waterproof, the external shell. So these come with these red waterproof bags. So they obviously, you know, typical waterproof bag. And these fit into here. And they just zip up like so. Yeah, they seem very robust and reliable. It's actually really good because there are two compartments that I can use for waterproof storage. Usually I just keep my, say, first aid kit, my bike utensils, my tools. Also, actually, one thing that I did buy, and I keep it in here, the Venture Gear portable battery. I have left the keys in with the lights on once and it ran flat. It's a torch. Has an attachment for my tires. This is for the tires. And then I've got this additional attachment that I purchased on Amazon, which basically has a thing to make it easier to attach to the tires. Because the Royal Enfield tire is notoriously difficult to get any kind of pump into it. So basically just allows me to screw it on. Bob's your uncle. I can attach this here. And then it says 19.5, so I'm gonna pump it up a bit to 28. So it's as easy as that to maintain your tire pressure. Great. So now we're gonna remove this guy. Okay. Great. Okay, I've got the bottle holder. So I got this one from Amazon. Great. So I've got on order as well a Givey tank bag. It uses a tank lock mechanism to lock onto these bolts, and it just sits here on the Royal Enfield. It's made for the Royal Enfield Himalayan. Let's move on. So that's my luggage system. Next, we've got the adventure category. First, I want to start with the headlight grille. Basically it looks really rad. I think where this protects you is if, say, you're riding with a group and stones fling up from the group. That's been great. While I'm on headlights, I will talk about these bad boys. These are the Baja Fog Lights. They have a switch on the cockpit to turn them on and off, which is really great. I just had those installed. I mean, a bit of a luxury for right now, but at some point fog lights are really handy when you've got fog situations. So Hunter's just been equipped with these bad boys. Check that out. So that's the headlights, just as they are. No impact that the headlights have. That's on, that's off, on, off. This is bang. So I've got also, obviously, the adventure seat. I think it used to be one seat, now it's got a pillion seat and a main seat. I haven't tried the original, so I've got no context on what it feels like. Basically, it's good, feels very comfortable. I have heard other YouTubers say that the original seat is actually more comfortable. So, you know, I'm not sure why you would need this. I don't know if it's more comfortable for a pillion, but you know, whatever the case. I've actually got some really good storage space that I haven't used yet, is actually this back seat. Like, you can put a whole nother bag there. I have recently started carrying a backpack, which I don't have with me right now, but I bought a Krieger backpack to put my laptops. We've got the Bark Busters handguards. Those are great. I haven't really needed to use them yet. It's got the Rally Crash Protection Kit, I believe is these bars. It's got the radiator guard and the crash plate. Those are all the additional adventure kit that I got with the bike. I'm going to talk about the wheels now. These are the Mitas Dakar tires. They are 80% off-road. I really got it with the intention of needing to take this anywhere. Rear tire looks dope. It's got so much grit in here. Yeah, I feel very confident about riding these in mud now. However, I've had some issues with these tires. You'll notice I don't have a front lower mudguard. That's because when I got these installed, I left that on and I took the bike back. It was actually rubbing against the lower mudguard. These tires are not good for the Royal Enfield Himalayan if you don't want to remove the mudguard. So I found that out the hard way. The way that these brake cables work by default is they go over the mudguard, which protects them from the tire. So they actually come down here on this fork. So when I first got it back, my mechanic Motociclo, he actually put a stiff rod in so that it was protected from the tire, but it still went over the tire. And it still was a bit of a loose cable, although it did have protection, so it was highly unlikely that it would have hit the tire. But there's always those situations where you're in a forest and, you know, shit could be wild. What I had to do is remove the front mudguard. That then left that wire over. I ordered this guy that brings the brake cable down the front fork instead of crossing over the back. So it's a really good design. Obviously my mechanic installed this for me, but this just gave me the confidence. That required a little bit of effort, but they are tubeless, which is great, and they are rad. Like, now that I've gone through that, I'm stoked, but it took a fair while to navigate that situation. I've just had Hunter back from the shop. I've just taken him in a few times recently, so basically been through a little bit of an ordeal in terms of the most recent updates to Hunter. He's got some new knobby tires. Knobbly? I'm not sure what the right vernacular is, but they are thick as fuck. They look the part. John at Motociclo, he's like, I don't like dirt tires personally. He prefers a road tire. So basically get them at your own discretion. I've now got really fucking 80/20 off-road tires on my bike, which I think I need to experience at least once in my life. If I don't like them, I can always change them. I just want to know that my bike is good regardless of the terrain. You know, I don't want to be stuck out in the wilderness because I don't have the right tires on for that extreme scenario. At least now, if I lose my bike or I can't get it out, I'll know it's probably that I was in a bad place. And I've seen other videos where they took it through some mud and the mud actually forced that part to break off, which is quite dangerous because your brake lines are protected by it.
on the Royal Enfield. It was making both the squeak, but it was more of a groan. Squeaking is just normal, but groaning. So I was like, oh look, mate, let's just remove the lower mudguard. And he's like, oh yeah, I've seen lots of YouTube videos where they recommend don't do it. So I asked him to remove the lower mudguard. I had a look into it when I went home. I probably should have done a bit more research before I asked him to do that. The issue when you remove the lower front guard is that the brake line is protected by the lower mudguard from the tyre. It's really just a loose cable that is floating over your front tyre, and there has been this horrible YouTube video by this dude, I can't remember his name, who was just going off-road, and he had made that mod, and that brake cable caught on his front tyre, and he went over the top of his bike and got really badly injured, and he caught the whole thing on camera. So I got home, I got the bike back, and I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. So not only I had that loose cable, also the wheel was groaning. So it was just this always on groan, like a brake squeak, but a groan. I took the bike back pretty quickly, and John from Motociclo, he fixed me up real good. He didn't charge me, and he was very apologetic. He's like, I should have noticed that groan. I didn't notice it when I did the test ride, but he took it and fixed it, and it was all good. Then I was like, okay, next step is to fix this fucking brake cable, this loose brake cable. I can't drive that around the world and feel safe on my bike. So I did some more research, and I found a company in the UK that manufactures a part for the Royal Enfield. I basically run the brake cable up the fork, and that protects it from the tyre. So now it is epic. It's got no lower mudguard, it's got the top mudguard, and it's fully protected, so it's very much rally style. The only thing I'm not sure about is the mud that I'll get on the radiator. That's probably the only lesson I'll need to learn. So who knows if that will be a problem. Time will tell. I usually get my bike washed by other people, so I guess I just have to let them deal with it. If anyone else is having the same issues, let me know. I did also notice with these knobby tyres, they actually felt a bit wobbly when I was going 100 kilometers an hour. Maybe I just wasn't used to them, but I just felt like it was kind of the start of a speed wobble. You know, not a super comfortable feeling, where I felt like I had to just stay aware of them and just make sure they're okay. I'm not sure if I will buy them again. I may even swap out this front tire earlier than planned, just because it is giving me a wobble on the highway. It's uncomfortable driving that fast with a bit of a speed wobble, and I don't know at what point will that speed wobble turn into an uncontrollable wobble. I'm really interested to hear if anyone else has put these tires on their Royal Enfield and how they found them, or which tires you've gone for, if you've upgraded your tire from the factory, what you've moved to.
While I'm on the tires, so I bought a tire pressure gauge, a TPMS. So I bought those because I want to really control my tire pressure and be able to go off-road, reduce it, on-road, increase it, be very careful with it. But then as I rode it to my mechanic, it was a bit flat, and I was like, oh, that's weird. So I pumped it up. I thought maybe I just let it down too much. The next day it was kind of the same, and I was like, what? So I was like continuing to pump them up. I mentioned it to him, like, I'm not sure, I feel like I have a slow leak. Anyway, he took the bike, he did the work. I got it back yesterday, Christmas Eve, at 10:30 a.m. and he was closing at 12. Rode it home. On the way, I got a flat tire. My rear tire was just completely flat, and I was like obvious, like it was rolling around. Fortunately, I was only going through suburbs, and I was able to stop, and then there was a petrol station 300 meters away, so I rode it slowly to the petrol station. I noticed that it was off the rim, the tire, it had rolled off it. So when I tried to inflate it, it just wouldn't inflate, like it would just hit a limit. It's probably about 6 kilometers away from the dealer. So I called the Royal Enfield hotline for the roadside assist, and they came out within an hour and a half. It took a lot of time. Thankfully, my mechanic, John and Nicole, they were so good. I called them and I was like, look, I don't know what to do. They're like, look, just get it back here, we'll take a look at it. And so they hung around later than they needed to on Christmas Eve. John repaired the tire. He looked for punctures. He suggested that it was the tire pressure sensor that was causing the leak. It's like, looking at it, it has a really weird end on it, so he feels like that's causing a leak. So he's like, just don't use them. So I've now got to figure out a new tire pressure system. Big debacle with the tires, massive debacle. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the heated grips. I got these heated grips installed from Motociclo. The heated grips are here. I can turn them up 50, 70, 90, 100%, and that will just warm up the grip. Simple as that. They've been really comfortable. I haven't really had to use them. I've been riding in warm weather recently, so these will become really handy in New Zealand and in colder climates. Okay, I've got the Adventure windshield installed. I think the original windshield was about there. This one comes up a bit further. It's okay, like I still get wind buffeting around the visor level. While we're in the cockpit, I installed the Viridian cruise control. You can see it here. Basically, it's got 3 buttons. It works in the same way as a car cruise control. Say you revved up to 100, you hit this first button, and that will sit you at 100 in the same gear. If you want to stop it, press stop. You can also stop it by revving the engine or applying the front or the rear brake. And you can also increase it, and that increases it, I believe, 5 kilometers per hour, which is really handy if you're kind of sitting behind a car at 95 and then they speed up to 100 and then you want to get to that. That just makes it really easy. You don't have to like disengage it and then re-engage it. So just showing you cruise control. So if I want to sit at 60, I just press the button, and so I don't need to have my hand on the gas, which is great. I can even take both hands off, but it does have a veering to the right problem. Let's say I want to sit at 60, so I go to 60, and then I press the button, and then it stays on 60. And then if I put the brake on, like I should, around that corner, then it disengages. It takes a little bit of getting used to, and that you've got to be ready to rev it again. If you disengage and it's high revs, then it will drop down immediately. So it can be quite jolty if you're not used to it. I find the best way is to accelerate until you feel the tension go away and then decelerate. I think I'll do it now. So I'm on 63, and then if I want to increase throttle, then it disengages. So I'm on 65 right now. If I want to go to 70, I just press the plus button, and then it will just increase in speed until about 65. There we go. You don't have to think about what's on, like there's no tension in my hands, so I'm just steering the bike. The only thing is, when you're using the clutch and the gears, you're more actively riding. When you've got cruise control, it's very passive. It's like you're just really like, riding along, I don't care so much, oh there's a car coming. But what I would have done is be ready, be ready to slow down. Just drive defensively. The passive mode of cruise control doesn't really encourage you to do. It encourages laziness. So if something's a little bit sketchier, I'd be less inclined to disengage and more inclined to just make it work, which I think is the wrong attitude. The other thing I'm not sure about with it is whether it is good fuel economy. I assume it's fine. It's probably better than me driving it, probably. Brilliant technology though. Like it's phenomenal tech to have on a low cost bike. I've got the quad lock mount that's mounted on here, and it's got the additional vibration control because your phone can get pretty wrecked. This is really good. First time. Usually, this is my biggest bane of starting a trip. I'm like, okay, second time. Okay, maybe I've just figured it out today. Usually it's like this. There we go. I think once I get the bag, I'll probably rely less on my phone being here and put the phone in my bag more and just rely on the GPS, which I will talk about now. So, the GPS, you guys will all be familiar with the Garmin. I'm not going to do a review on the Garmin because you can watch a lot of review videos for that, but basically it's a GPS for motorbikes. I'm pretty sure that I am avoiding all the actual motorbike tracks. I just don't have the maps. I really need to be able to navigate. I can't guess. The thing I love about it the most is, say if I want to go here, start as a new route, and then I can choose the difficulty. It will recalculate based on how difficult the journey is. Sometimes you're in a rush, so you want to take the easiest path, Sometimes you're like, I want to have fun, and you take the more adventurous route. I think the thing I don't like is you can't tell how adventurous it is. So it's like, what's your definition of adventurous, bro?
Please drive to highlighted route.
It's got really good intelligence, really good mapping. I had the previous version of the Garmin. It was really slow and it would just take a long time to connect with satellites. Having a dedicated GPS that doesn't rely on mobile is a real necessity when you're adventure motorcycling. It's great to have maps kind of downloadable on your phone, but I just find it so unreliable. Touring mirrors. So these are the touring mirrors. They look great. I haven't had to adjust them or change them. They're very robust. They seem okay. I think at 100 kilometers an hour, you get a bit of a vibration and things become a little less clear. One more thing about the Garmin, I bought this attachment from Amazon, which just attaches to the front of the windshield. I didn't install this, my mechanic installed this. I think it's fine. I'm not sure. There weren't many reviews on many of those products for the Royal Enfield, so hopefully that just works out. The next thing I want to talk about is somewhere in this bad boy is an air filter.
This is one of the biggest improvements the bike has received yet. It's got everything else, but the air filter, oh my god, that changes the sound of the bike completely. It has a beautiful sound to it now. It's a very powerful motorbike sound. You know, you can really hear that thumper engine going, especially when it's at the top of its rev range. And it honestly feels like it's got a lot more horsepower. I feel like it just goes. So that's been a really great upgrade. I don't think it was that expensive, and it was a reusable air filter.
It had more power, it was more buttery, the noise was so much more beautiful and deep. It was like
see, that's the sound that he makes. It's that really buttery, it's around 5,000 revs. Oh, it's such a beautiful sound that that air filter has given it, and I'm sure it just feels like when it's in that range, it's just got a lot more power. Hey cows. Yeah, that deep guttery sound. I don't know if you can hear it. Oh, it's a beautiful noise. And he doesn't make it all the time. He makes it when you're really like cranking him, you know?
really changed the sound of the bike, that air filter. And you wouldn't have thought so. I didn't expect it to do anything, but it made it faster, more powerful, and it also made it sound more awesome. That was a really great addition. The brakes, oh my God.
Okay, I'm officially running late now. Okay, that's the squeak. There it is, ladies and gentlemen.
So I'm not sure if you guys have had this. Please comment in this video if you have experienced squeaky brakes on the Royal Enfield. I've seen a bunch of videos on YouTube where people complain about the front brakes squeaking a lot. I had this issue pretty much within the first drive of getting it. I was like, oh, okay, it's a bit squeaky. And I thought it's because I went through water. I thought, oh, maybe that's it. Maybe it's just a bit of water. I took the bike into the dealer for my next checkup and he was like, oh, yep, no problem. He cleaned everything in the brake to make sure that there was no sand or grit in there. And that was really great. Within a week, it started happening again. Yeah, he did it again. I'm not sure how many times he's done it. He's probably sick of doing it by now. And then when I got my new tires installed, it was actually this always on groaning. So he called it groaning. He's like, that's not squeaking, that's groaning. There's a clear definition. So basically it was rubbing all the time on the brake, we think. We actually didn't know what to do about it. Well, he didn't know what to do about it. I had no idea. And what he suggested is maybe we change the brake pads. And I was like, yeah, I guess so. I mean, would this be a warranty issue? He's like, look, if we want to claim warranty, we'd have to go through a lot of stuff in terms of like sending it back and proving it's faulty and blah, blah, blah. He's like, or you could just buy new brake pads and try that. And then if it still doesn't work, then we send it back for warranty. And I was like, great, sounds good. Give me the best ones. So I don't know what kind of brake pads I've got. He gave me two options. I was like, what would you recommend? And we went with that. After getting new brake pads installed, it was still squeaking. And I was like, no, what is wrong with my bike? Within half a day of driving it, I actually went to an adventure course. It was squeaking for the first half of the day, and then the second half, it just stopped squeaking and hasn't squeaked since. It does squeak a little bit when you stop it sometimes, but it's really not that bad. I think that's most of the upgrades. The only other thing that I'll just give a shout out to, because it's part of life, is the Garmin InReach Mini 2. I actually was looking at the Garmin InReach Mini 3, but it's much more expensive and I don't need it to be flashy. I just need it for survival situations. I don't want another device to use like a phone when I'm off the grid. That's been really good. It allows me to connect to my phone through the Messenger app. There's like a Garmin Messenger app. In my Messenger app, I'm able to get the weather report. This is via satellite, which is great because you can never get this on your phone. And then I've also been able to send messages from my phone from this app that go through the satellite to my family. That's really great. I can check in and say that I'm okay, I'm starting my trip, ending my trip. I think I can customize these messages and then edit who I send it to. So this allows people to keep in touch even when I'm out of range. When I think about being a boy, being a kid, you know, we like toys that we can kind of build. We like Lego sets and we like things that we can challenge our creativity with and do amazing things with and create something from. You know, I think that's something inherent in being a man that we've learned through childhood play. The Royal Enfield is very much a bike that you can customize and make. You can build it, you get it out of the box and it's pretty stock standard and it does the job. It's an amazing bike out of the shop. The amazing thing is that you can just continue to add on to it and create a bike that you really want. It's a real kit set, doer-upper bike. If it came with tires out of the box, then you'd probably just fit the Panniers and you'd be good to go. I think the CF Moto 450, the Ibex, I think that actually has relatively good tires out of the gate. On that one, you just fit Panniers and you're pretty good to go. It took a bit more work to get Hunter fully ready for the adventure that I anticipated. Now I believe he's ready. He's obviously just missing a tank bag, but outside of that, he's got everything that I need for him to be successful out there. And if he's successful, then I'm successful. He's the kind of bike that you'd want to leave to your children, you know. They will probably have fancy electric bikes by then. I feel it will stand a test of time. This bike is built for Dakar conditions. Probably has a few too many gadgets on it. I'm always a little bit skeptical about those gadgets and how long they will last. It's hard to tell if, say, the Viridian cruise control is gonna last 10 years. Who knows? I doubt it. That's the only thing I need to just keep an eye on is the gadgetry on this bike now that I've added it. It's certainly not as simple as it used to be. So these are the upgrades I've done to the bike. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a huge number of things to do to a bike, but now it is so adventure ready. It's so ready for the wild. I've now just got to practice packing it. Once I get the tank bag, I can really finalize my system. But yeah, right now I've still got too much stuff. This is really the practice weekend for going to Tasmania. Finally, the bike is ready. Like, it's definitely been months of back and forth with the mechanic in a good way. Like, he's been really great, but it's been a lot of buying accessories, getting them to the dealer, getting them installed on the next service. Leading up to Christmas, he's been so great at just getting it done. I know he's really busy. Massive credit to Motociclo for building this bike with me. It's been a real journey. I've learnt a lot. Now I have to learn it. I've been so dependent on John at Motociclo to fix my bike. I'm now needing to be a bit more independent. So I think that's the next thing I need to learn is really the bike maintenance and the mechanic stuff. Yeah, I will definitely be enrolling in some kind of bike mechanic school. Thank you for joining my accessories and mods update on Hunter, the Royal Enfield Himalayan 450 2025.